I do appreciate the quieter nights in the NHL. I got to be honest. And tonight, it's 3 games. They're all Canadian home games. And it's a nice quiet Wednesday. So it won't have all of the milestones that we had last night. Not as much playoff implications tonight either. When you consider that of the teams on the board, only one of them's pretty much guaranteed a playoff spot. And I say pretty much because until you clinch, I don't want to say guaranteed because then people are going to say, Shannon jinxed him. So yeah, that being said, let's go ahead and start things off. The New York Rangers are in against the Vancouver Canucks in a game that is only interesting for a few reasons, and I'll get into them. The Rangers are 28, 28, and 13. They are 25th overall in the NHL. The Vancouver Canucks are 28, 32, and 9. They are 26th overall in the NHL. I knew that would really get your interest that one team's 25th overall and the other one's 26th, right? Anyways, over their last 10, the Rangers are 2, 3, and 5. Their last game was a loss in overtime. They're very good at losing in overtime and not in regulation. So you can look at them and go, they've only won 2 out of the last 10, and I would answer with, but they've only lost 3 in regulation out of their last 10. On the Vancouver side, not so lucky. They're 2, 6, and 2. So while they've only won 2 of their last 10, they've only garnered 6 points overall, and the Rangers have garnered 9. So the Rangers find themselves 12 points out of a playoff spot. The Canucks find themselves 10 points out of a playoff spot. Neither of them are going to the playoffs. On the road, the Rangers are 11, 17, and 5. At home, Vancouver's 15, 13, and 4. The only meeting they had this year was in New York, and the Rangers won that. That was part of a horrible, horrible road trip for the Vancouver Canucks, which started the nosedive that they've been in pretty much ever since. There were some signs they might pull out, but eventually, no. Last 10 games. Mika Zibanejad has a goal and 6 assists. Nemesnikov has 3 goals and 4 assists. Kreider, 2 goals, 3 assists for him. Brendan Lemieux. You guys like him in New York yet? 2 goals and 3 assists. Pretty decent return for Kevin Hayes, isn't it? VC, 3 goals, 3 assists. Brady Shea, 3 goals and 3 assists as well. And Pionk with an assist. And I'm aware that they got more than just Brendan Lemieux for Kevin Hayes. It's a pretty good trade for the Rangers, like I said. Let's look at goaltenders. And looking at goaltenders, there is no confirmation for the Vancouver game. So I'll speculate away. I'll speculate Lundqvist. He's 1, 2, and 2 in their last 10 games with a .908 save percentage. Georgiev is 1, 1, and 3 with a .923 save percentage. They may very well start Georgiev here. On the Vancouver side, Roussell's got 3 goals and 3 assists in their last 10 games. Horvat, 4 goals. Elias Pettersson, he's hit the wall. Yes, I said Peterson. He has 5 assists in his last 10 games. The wall is real. Gaudette, 1 goal, 2 assists for him. Virtanen, 1 goal and 2 assists in the last 10 games he's played. Biega, 1 goal, 6 assists. And Luke Schenn, back in the NHL, with 1 assist in the last 10 NHL games he's played. I would expect Markstrom. He's 2, 4, and 2 in their last 10 with a .917 save percentage. Demko's 0, and 2 with an .880 save percentage, so I expect Markstrom. He plays pretty close to every game. And again, I know this game doesn't mean a whole lot to everybody. To me, it's more of a, let's have a good show. And if they're going to lose, they're going to lose. They have 2 games in hand on the Anaheim Ducks. They're tied with the Ducks right now in points. So if they could get down to 27th or 28th by the end of the year. It's horrible, horrible, horrible talk like that. And yet I'm wearing Canucks gear because I do think they'll probably win. The Rangers' road record isn't great. Next up, Chicago and Toronto. So, again, we have a rivalry that gets broken up by Toronto moving to the Eastern Conference. And yet, to me, this is a good old-fashioned Norris Division matchup. The Norris Division, which is now the Central, kind of. I say kind of because not every team that's in the Central was in the Norris. Toronto and Detroit are no longer in the West, as a for example. Chicago, 30, 39, and 9 overall. They're 22nd in the league. So while it's fun to talk about how close some of these teams are, when you get into the overall standings, they're not top 16. Toronto, 42, 22, and 5 overall. They're 5th in the NHL. Of course, there's always a lot of talk about Toronto. And you know what's funny is I did the video last night, which I posted this morning on the whole Morgan Riley thing. I wanted to stay out of what was said or what wasn't said because I don't think that's as important as the overall discussion itself on trash talking the NHL. And of course, you know, it's one of those things where it's like I made the video last night and I didn't post it last night because I thought this could be ugly in the comment section. I don't want to post this tonight. So I just saved it for this morning. Because, again, when you talk about something that people aren't going to agree on, and most things hockey really we don't agree on. Anyways, let's get into this game, shall we? 6-4 is the record of the Chicago Blackhawks over their last 10. They've won 3 in a row. On the road, they're 14-17-3. And if they end up missing the playoffs due to their road record, well, it's one of those things, right? Toronto is also a team with 6 wins in their last 10 games. They're 6-3-1. Of course, they lost their last game against Tampa, which, if you paid attention to the Toronto media, it looks like that's the end of the world. The thing is, it wasn't a playoff game, so I checked. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything for the Stanley Cup yet. They're third in the Atlantic. They're 4 points behind Boston. They're 21-13-1 at home. The Chicago Blackhawks are currently 6 points out of the playoffs because they're tied with the Edmonton Oilers. So Toronto won this matchup in Chicago, and of course that was famous for the hand to the ear by Matthews, hand to the ear by Patrick Kane, and all that discussion. And you know what? Austin Matthews, and I got to be honest, I think he needs a little bit of that in his game. I think that I think there's kind of something off with Matthews, and I think when he's a little bit cocky and a little bit arrogant, I think he plays better. I honestly do. And I know that would make a lot of people angry if he played like that all the time, but as long as he's winning, it doesn't really matter. On the Chicago side of things, Jonathan Toews, 3 goals, 10 assists in their last 10 games. Anisimov, 4 goals, 2 assists. Patrick Kane, 6 goals, 5 assists. Dylan Strome with 3 goals and 6 assists. And Perlini, ever since I said he hadn't scored a goal since going to Chicago, he now has 6 in his last 10 games. You're welcome, Chicago. I try, I really do. Duncan Keith, a goal and 7 assists. And Connor Murphy with a goal and 2 assists for the Chicago Blackhawks in their last 10 games. Crawford is listed as likely tonight. I would go as far as to say it's going to happen. He's 5-1-1 in his last 10 with a .900 save percentage. Delia is 0-2 in the last 10 games. He's been eligible to play with an .831 save percentage. On the Toronto side, over their last 10 games, Tavares with 5 goals, 8 assists. Matthews, 3 goals, 4 assists. Johansson, 4 goals, 2 assists. Mitch Marner, 3 goals and 10 assists. Brown with a goal and 3 assists. Riley with 3 goals and 5 assists. And Zaitsev with a goal and 2 assists. So if Marner keeps outscoring Matthews like this, it's just contract talk. Somewhere, Brad Marchand's like, yeah, you go, Shannon. That's right, get into that. Because again, you know, this summer Marner's an RFA, and it's going to be an interesting discussion. And would Kyle Dubas come at this and say, well, Matthews is a center and he's a more vital part, that's why he gets X dollars and I'm only offering you this amount? Or does he get into career totals? It'll be very interesting. Goaltenders, Anderson's confirmed, of course. 6-2-1 over their last 10 with a .917 save percentage. Sparks is 0-1 with an .867 save percentage. So it's going to be an interesting game for a number of reasons, but Chicago's trying to bully their way back into the playoff race. And Toronto might be a little vulnerable after that Tampa loss, but it's Tampa. So everybody loses to Tampa. All right, next up, Jersey and the Oilers. The New Jersey Devils, 22 points back of the playoffs. They were 25-36-9 now. They're 28th overall. They're not last. They're not. We've got some really bad teams this year in the NHL. It feels like we've got more bad teams this year than we normally do. 31-31-7 is the Oilers' record. They sit 23rd overall with that record. So they are listed on NHL.com below Chicago. They have more wins, but regulation overtime wins are your first tiebreakers. So some of those wins being in shootout means it's they're not held up to the same esteem as, say, the regulation and overtime wins that may be possessed by the Blackhawks. All right, over their last 10, they have mirror records. 2-7-1 for the New Jersey Devils, 3 losses in a row. Edmonton 7-2-1, and they won their last game. As I said, New Jersey 22 points out, and the Oilers 6 points out of the playoffs. On the road, it is a disgustingly awful record that is sported by the New Jersey Devils. 8-24-3. They're coming off a 9-4 loss last night. At home, the Oilers 16-16-2, and while it's not a sterling record, they can get it above 500 tonight with a win over New Jersey, a New Jersey Devils team, which is going to be one of two things: either completely humiliated and coming into tonight with their heads down, or really angry with themselves for what happened last night and for leaving Mackenzie Blackwood hung out to dry and determined for a win. On the scoring side of things, the New Jersey Devils, who won the game between these two teams in New Jersey earlier this year, Coleman now has 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 10 games. Agostino, 2 goals and 2 assists as well. Rooney with 2 goals and an assist. Stafford stands out to me as not having any points in the last 10 games he's played. I understand Stafford's offense has been gone for a while, but that's still alarming. Zajac, 3 goals, 2 assists. Butcher with 4 assists. And Connor Carrick with 3 assists in the last 10 games he's played. Corey Schneider's been listed as the starter. That's why they left Blackwood hung out to dry last night. So, on Coach's Corner this week, when they're showing highlights of Blackwood getting shelled in the third period last night, and Don Cherry's complaining about how a goaltender gets hung out to dry, he did it last week with McElhinney. It's because of the fact they're playing the next night, and they have to rest the other goalie for tomorrow night's game. In this case, tonight's game, which is Corey Schneider's. He's 2-3-1 in their last 10 games with a .922 save percentage. Blackwood, 1-4 in the last 10 games he's been on the roster for with a .910 save percentage. On the Edmonton side of things, McDavid, 3 goals, 12 assists over their last 10 games. Draisaitl, 7 goals, 11 assists. Gagne, 3 goals, 2 assists. Chason, 2 goals, 2 assists. And Nugent Hopkins, 3 goals and an assist. Russell with 4 assists and Benning with a goal and an assist. Round out the scoring for the Oilers. Goaltenders, no confirmation, which means it'll probably be Koskinen. Stolarz may get a start here just because it's Jersey, right? Koskinen 7-1-1 in their last 10 games with a .933 save percentage. Stolarz lost the only game he started. He has a .917 save percentage over the last 10 games they've played to go with that. So there you go. You're all set up for tonight's games. Let me know your thoughts, predictions, and thoughts of that nature in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support, and I'll talk to you again soon.